Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. May the divine lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace.
This Bengali song is written by Sri Bacharam Chattopadhyay. The meaning is, O Lord, my days going to be fruitless? Are my days going to be fruitless? I am waiting, looking out for you, day and night. You are the Lord of the universe, and I am a mere beggar, orphan. How can I ask you to come to core of my heart's abode? I keep the door open in my heart, always. Won't you come to fulfill kindly this prayer? जावे की है दीना मार बिफले चुली जावे की है दीना मार बिफले चोली हाथीनाथ निबानिशी हाथीनाथ निबानिशी आशापाथ निरुखी आशापाथ निरुखी जावे की दीना विफले चली तुम्हें त्रिभ मनुनाथ आमे भिखारी अनाथ तुम्हें त्रिभ मनुनाथ आमे भिखारी अनाथ केमने বলিব তোমায় এসে কি জুড়াবে কি যাবে কি দিন আমার বিফলে চলি যাবে কি দিন আমার হৃদয় কুটির দ্বার খুলে রাখে অনিবার হৃদয় কুটির দ্বার খুলে রাখে অনিবার কৃপা করে একবার dino amar vifale choli he jabe he dino amar.
I am reading from the book Spiritual Treasures, the letters of Swami Turiyananda Ji Maharaj, direct disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. Here, Swami Turiyananda Ji writes, Dear X, why do you forget the name of Mother Durga? Always take her name, O my mind. Never leave the mother in life as well as in death. Whatever God does is good for us. Let our hearts be impregnated with this faith. Practice your sadhana intensely. Circumstances are not always favorable in everybody's case. Therefore, in whatever condition the Lord keeps you, you must continue your sadhana. There is no other way to blessedness than to remember Him constantly and to depend on Him fully. The fullest degree of benefit comes from the fullest degree of dedication to God. This is the truth. Reason supports this truth, and all great souls are also unanimous on this point. The wise man remembers God amidst unfavorable circumstances and thus transcends them all. The Lord only knows where He will take me. Wherever He takes me, may I have devotion to Him. This is my earnest prayer. Whatever the Lord wills happens, and it is undoubtedly for our good. But the problem is that we neither understand it nor have we any patience. Indeed, there is no better way to peace than if we could only believe that whatever the Lord does is good for us. If one does not have this understanding, one cannot have peace of mind. Happiness and misery, disease and grief, these are all inevitable as long as one lives in the body. But it is not right to think that what gives me happiness is good and what causes me pain is bad. This is sheer selfishness. May the Lord always keep us unperturbed in happiness as well as sorrow, in disease and in grief. May we never be devoid of right understanding in every situation. That is my sincere prayer to the Lord. What sort of a monk you are? Why are you so concerned about the body? The nature of the body is to grow, to decay and to die. But there is one inside the body who neither grows nor decays. Try to see Him. It is hard to understand the ways of the Divine Mother. She, the great enchantress, veils the understanding even of wise men and forcibly subjects them to delusion. This is in the Chandi. If that is the case, what to speak of ordinary people? He alone is safe who always remains prayerful to the Divine Mother. You have written rightly. In this world, people do not realize this fact. When the dried cow dung cake burns, the cow dung laughs without knowing that it will also be burnt one day. Mother, if you do not protect us from Maya, there is no deliverance. This is the truth. The Lord's will be done. If one can be absorbed in the thought of the Divine, one need not worry about external things. In this respect, His compassion is one's mainstay. Always be prayerful. You should constantly speak to Lord about the needs of your heart. He alone is our own. If this feeling is deeply established within you, you will be free from fear and anxiety of death. Gradually, the Lord will make everything known to you. Your well-wisher, Turiyananda.
Now a short period of meditation. Good morning to everyone, and my voice is a little sore. I got cold. So today's topic is mystery of death. Death is scary for most of the people, but death is inevitable. Death, destruction will happen to whatever is created, whatever is born will die, whatever is created will be destroyed. So yet, after being created, after being born, we don't want to die, knowing that that will never happen, not dying. Swami Vivekananda says, saints die and sinners die, kings die and beggars die. No one is... Kabir Das has very nice doha in this. Chalati chakki dekh ke diya kabira roy, dui patan ke beech mein sabit bacha na koy. This Kabir is crying, seeing this grinding machine, the old grinding machine made of two stones, flat stones. It is moving, and Kavira is crying, seeing that. What is that? One is earth, one is sky. Whatever is between these two, everything will be powder, will be gone. Nothing will remain alive because this machine is moving constantly. Between these two pans of the stones, slabs of the stone, nothing remains intact. That's why Kabir died itself. But that is one way we see as the truth. But the scriptures comes to our rescue. Otherwise, it's so hard to feel that will we not living anymore? Will you die and extinct like a extinguished candle flame? Will there be nothing of this me? So it's very difficult to really feel that way. So this Bhagavad Gita also said, Jatasya hi dhruva mrityu. Everything that is born will die. Very depressive. Next line it says, very supportive and very positive. Jatasya hi mrityu, dhruva mrityu, dhruvo janma mritasya. Whoever is dead, he will be born, reborn again. So this is a cycle of birth and death going on continuously. So there is nothing extinction. It's just the change of the phase. We are born today like this, in this situation. We'll be born in some other situation, some other place, and we'll have some other body. That's why they say it's like the changing our old car and having a new car. This body is like a vehicle. It is also compared in the scriptures with the ratha. This body is a ratha. So, Atmanam Rathinam Viddhi Deham tu Rathamevacha. Atma is the Rathi, is the owner, master of this chariot, the soul. And this body is the chariot, so it takes us from place to place. And this mind in the chariot, the intellect, the mind, they are like the reins and the senses of the horses that is walking on the street, which is the experience that we get from this world. Through the touch of the senses with the sense objects, we get the experience. And there is the mind which controls the senses, and there is one which controls even the mind. And that is called Buddhim tu Sarathim Viddhi. That Buddhi is that charioteer which has the reins, controlling the reins in its hand. So it tries to move and move the horses and controls the horses, controls its speed and sets it on the way. So Buddhi, the charioteer, but who is the owner, who is the master of the chariot? It is the soul. So soul is there, body is just the chariot. So we forget the chariot and consider ourselves to be the chariot which is driving and old and it will break the wheels. And then we say, oh, I am broken, oh, I am going, oh, I am destroyed. But no, this body chariot will be old and gone, new chariot will come. There is no end of our getting chariot. Dhruva jatasya dhruvam mrityu dhruvam janmam mritasya cha. So this is the great hope that Sri Krishna says. So we are never to be destroyed, never to be extinguished. At death, body sleeps, but the soul flies to get other soul. So it is not never dying. And how it is, Sri Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Vasamsi jirnani yathaviha. He compares not with the chariot, but with the cloth that we wear, the clothes that we wear. So when the clothes become old, then it is discarded. Like that, when the body becomes old and decrepit, it is discarded and a new body is gained. So in that gaining new body and throwing old body, nothing we have to do. It's already said. There is someone who makes it do. We don't have to worry for that. When our body will become old and unuseful and difficult to make the thing that in life it should do, so it will be taken away, it will be thrown away. It will be recycled rather in nature to make the parts of other body. As in recycling, you have the parts opened. This body, all cells, all this material that make body will be loosened to its elements, and that will be used to make other body. And we will get the other body. So like wearing the new cloth when the old cloth is gone. So nobody weeps when one person, the old cloth is old and gone and you get the new cloth. So like that, this old cloth is discarded. They say in the scriptures that as we get new cloth first and the old cloth, then we either donate or discard if it is too old. Like that, even the soul. They say soul, before leaving this body, it takes another body like a leech. Jalaukabat, they say. Like a leech, the soul is there, it already takes the other form where it is going. And accept that, and then it leaves this body, then it dies. So there is no problem. But there is one way for some people that you get different birth. There are scriptures saying different things. What happens after death? Mystery of death. What happens after death? When Schopenhauer says, to desire immortality is to desire the eternal perpetuation of same mistake. This life is mistake, delusion, ignorance, what we think, that we live, we achieve, we enjoy. This is all a mistake, and if we want to remain immortal, that is the thinking for perpetuation of the same mistake. But when we say Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya, it's not that we want this life to continue. We want the knowledge that we are immortal. The knowing, being convinced, being understanding that we are not dying with the death of the body. We are separate from the body. We are soul eternal. As Swami Kripamayananda says, children of immortal bliss that we are. So to understand that is going from death to immortality. It's not being in the same way, living the same way, continuing this life of 100 years to 105 years. Nothing joy is there in living like that old. You are old and you should make century. A person is 92 years old. Now we say 92 years celebrating, wonderful. So we want you to celebrate 100 years. For others who are young and energetic and healthy, for them it's great fun. My great-grandfather will live 100 years, century. But for the person itself, it is quite painful. Lots of disease, lots of problems and pain and aches in the body, cannot walk, wheelchair bound, and then medicines and hospitals and surgeries going on. Yet we want to live for 100 years. So that is how this perpetuation in the same error or same mistake as the Schopenhauer says. But our Nityorma Amritam Gamaya lead us from death to immortality. Not that. We don't want to extend this life. We want to live a happy, meaningful, purposeful life. That's why in Ishopanishad it is said that karmanev karmani jiji vished satagum samaha. You want to live 100 years? Yes, there is no wrong in that. But you should want to live 100 years while working, while fit in body and mind. Otherwise, there is no meaning in extending life just for living's sake. Like a vegetable life, there is no meaning. So, Sri Krishna also says that what really dies is not the soul. Soul is immortal. No one can kill the soul. Soul is so immortal in such way. Nainam chindanti shastrani nainam dahati pavaka. It cannot be cut, cleaved by weapon. It cannot be burned by fire. It cannot be wetted by water. It cannot be dried by air. So it is very immaterial, the material thing that we can think and feel in the world. It is totally different from that because it is pure consciousness. It is spirit. It is not the matter. So it cannot have no effect of the material world on it. It lives forever. No one can kill the soul. Soul is immortal and eternal. Only problem is we are not able to identify ourselves with the soul and we identify with the body. Dehatma buddhiha. Buddhi is not so refined as to be able to feel or think ourselves with that spirit. We can only think of material body as oneself. We are very much attached to this body and erroneously think that I am this body. Even we don't think that I possess this body. There is also evolution in our spiritual thought. I possess this body. Body is my vehicle. Body is my cloth. If that is there, that is the evolution in our spiritual idea. But to think I am this body, so that becomes very much frustrating, and it will give us this bondage of this thought of this ignorance that creates trouble in our life. The story of how Nachiketa was sent to Yama, the death of God, and there he goes, and he meets the death of God, that Yama, God of death, and then he asked, Yama asked him, oh, you have been waiting for me for 3 days, I have gone for my duty, and you waited outside, so I'm sorry for that, but some compensation, some mistake, something wrong, something we cannot treat as you should treat, then we say, we do give compensation, something. So Yama wanted to give compensation for 3 days of making him wait in his house, because he was not there. So what compensation? He asked you 3 boons. Whatever you ask, I will give. So Nachiketa asked one boon, that may there my parent, who is in anger, fit of anger, he said, go to death, I give you to death, and I came. So he must be very worried, because why did I say that, and something we do, and worried and lamenting, my son has gone to death, and by mistake I said in anger. Please make him peaceful, he should not be worried. So first for his father, so thought for the world. Second, he said about the death and heaven. He said, people go to heaven, I want to know What do you do to go to heaven? What are the rituals? So Yama gives first boon, second boon, okay, ritual, this is the ritual you perform, this sacrifice, then people who perform, they will go to heaven. The third question is our third question. The third question he asked, oh Lord, can you tell me, some people say when you die nothing remains, it's extinction. Some say no, there is a soul remains. What is the truth? Yama had not read Gita, because Gita was not there at this time. Yama is Nachiketa had not read Gita. Nachiketa was before the Gita was written. He was in the Vedic period, in the Kathopanishad. Gita was much later, in the Mahabharata time. So he says, what is the truth? Whether after death something remains, soul is there, or there is no soul or nothing. Just the body had died and finished. So now Yama was in trouble. He said, it's a very difficult question you asked. How to explain you to the thing? Because if I say to you yes, you will ask how. So he doesn't want to give reply to this. So Yama is God of death. He wants to keep also like in delusion, the people will think he will be born, he will die, and he will go on doing his work. If everybody knows that there is no death after, there is no finish extinction after death, and nobody will be doing all in delusion, and his work will finish. He will come and do what, there will be mukti for everyone, all will be liberated. So his work will not be there. So when work is not there, he may be fired. Actually, Yama also dies, his work also finishes. All gods, Indra, Yama, Varuna, Agni, all their work is for the time being, because they are also in the Maya. They also die. So only one who doesn't die is the self. Myself doesn't die. I am immortal. Everything else dies. So Yama said, stop, don't ask this question. Oh, you have asked this question now. You ask anything that will make you happy in the world, because I will let you go to the world. You ask for wealth, enormous. You ask for big land, you will be king of that land. And you ask for everything of enjoyment, of what people call joyful living, whatever you want. Riches, the music, the dancer, the cars that you call rathas, divine chariots. So whatever you want, I will give you. So, but don't ask this question. And also, you want to leave, how much? I will not come and grab you when your life goes. Whatever time, whenever you wish, I want to die now, then only you can come. For thousands of years you may remain until you want to die. So, please ask all this, not only one, all this, but don't ask this question about the soul and immortality, what remains. Even the gods do not know about the soul. You a little boy just came from the Martya Loka, from the world where people die, you are asking such a question. Then this Nachiketa was such a wise boy. He says, oh, even gods do not know the answer to this question. So it is very pertinent. And I have a teacher like you who controls death, who controls the rule. Yama is one who follows the rule of, people are born, they have to die. He never fails in his duty. One who doesn't fail in his duty, whenever our time to give up this body, after it's finished, he will not do 1 second delay. He is always punctual, coming in time to take our soul to next stage. So that is Yama, rule, is punctuality. That's what the Yama means, rule. So then I have got you as the teacher. I want to know this. And he gives the reason why he didn't want all this riches and long life and the huge land and all the enjoyments. He says, this Nachiketa was so wise. He says, all you say about the enjoyment, how long people can enjoy. These senses get tired after enjoying for some time. It is not everlasting. And you have to give riches, there are also nothing compared to, there may be any other person having more rich, so riches also doesn't matter. You want, say, infinite, great life of long years, compared to eternity, that is also limited. So after all, that is an end. I don't want any of these. May all your dancers and the musicians and enjoyment be with you, O Yama. Tabaiva Vaha Tava Nritya Gite. Vaha means may it be the glory of all this Nritya and Gita and all the songs and musics be yours. I want the answer to this question, whether there is life after death or nothing remains after death? Then Nachiketa answers the question, yes, there is life after death, life never ends. So, Swami Vedanta also dealt on that question. What happens to our soul after death? This question he also took. And from the scriptures, and he was a great mystic. He used to go into meditation, he used to even call the souls, departed souls, and he used to talk with them. There is a book called Life After Death or something, Mystery of Death or something is there. Moroner Pare in Bengali, Life After Death, something. In that there are the things, he tells the narration how he invited the souls, he talked with the embodied souls, and the conversation was there and all that thing. So he had greatly dealt with this subject. So he says, the soul immediately before death contracts and gradually withdraws all sense powers. What happens during death? He writes, Avedananji. So immediately before death, soul contracts, means it localizes from all the body, and all the senses are gathered to the soul. Senses, all these powers of the senses, all they come. The physical senses grow dimmer and dimmer as a flickering candle flame gradually approaches extinction. So physical senses are like skin, we can touch everywhere, or we can hear the sound. So all those physical, this ear, this eyes will not work, but the real sense organ, this sight or the power of hearing, all those become subtle and become more powerful and are withdrawn to the soul. They do not remain all over the body. So our skin will lose the power of touch. We will not be able to do that. But it will be withdrawn. The very subtle and stronger power of touch will be there with the soul. It will not be able to know of the world. But the senses and their powers grow keen and strong, and they come to the soul and localize there. The soul, just before leaving the body, lives in an unconscious state like slumber. And in that state, the spiritual body, Jivatman, passes like a mist. What he says is, it comes all withdrawn, souls are withdrawn, and time to leave this body. So this soul lives along with the 17 other elements called Sukshma Sharira. Our personality, now also we have two divisions of our personality. One is this physical body, we call body. Another is the soul, the real person. Real person is not the physical body. Real person is the soul. The soul consists of two things. One is pure consciousness, the Chaitanya, the God, the immortal, that idea which is the real person, undying, and it is covered, or as its support is 17 components are there. Those 17 components are subtle material, and soul is immaterial. The consciousness is immaterial. So material, subtle material, and the soul that empowers those material. The subtle material are called Sukshma Sharira. They constitute subtle body. What are those? Those are 5 pranas, vital power that makes our body move and work. It is energized by that Sukshma Sharira. The subtle body makes our physical body work. Our breathing, our blood circulation, our heartbeat, our function, all movements are made by the pranas that get their power from the subtle prana in the Sukshma Sharira that we have now. And the Sukshma Sharira is energized by the pure presence of the pure consciousness. And that Pancha Prana, that makes the life. Life is the prana, that's often life. He is given, his prana is gone, we say. The prana is gone means all vital functions, vital power have left the body along with the Sukshma Sharira and the Jivatma. The term for this subtle body and the spirit is Jivatma. Then what are other five? Other 5 are Pancha Jnanendriya, 5 organs of senses. The sight, the hearing, they also are withdrawn, and they are subtle ones by whose power this gross work. Our ears hear, our nose smell, but because of the power of subtle senses that are with the Sukshma Sharira. When they are withdrawn, so they become functionless. Now nose cannot smell, but the power to smell is there in the Jivatma. And there are Pancha Jnanendriya, 5 organs of action. In the subtle 5 organs of action in the Sukshma Sarira, by whose power our these limbs work, legs move, and we have all the actions that is possible in our body movement, our body. That energy for the body is the prana, but the movement of the gross body is by the Jnanendriya, organs of action, senses of action, convert into organs of actions. So, Pancha Prana, Pancha Jnanendriya, Pancha Karmendriya, and there are mind and buddhi, manas and buddhi, these two. So our Vedanta says, in that state, the spiritual body or Jivatman passes like a mist. They go where they already are. Where do you stay when you fall asleep? Okay. Then after saying that, 17 components plus pure consciousness makes the Jivatma, it leaves the body, and this mind and buddhi are also material, very, very fine, finer than the senses they are called in the Vedanta. So we will read that, how fine they are. So Vedanta said, after this Jivatma consisting of 7 components and the spirit or the consciousness they leave, they go where they already are. Where do you stay when you fall asleep? You then stay in the mind. After that, souls need not go to any other place. They continue to stay in the same mental plane, just as we do in our state of sleep or dream. So, death is like a sleep, long slumber, where there is mind, there are the senses, but there is no physical body to manifest those ideas or to manifest those senses. That is the idea of death. You are in a great slumber and you are asleep. The souls then live in the mental plane. They move and do everything mentally in that state. Mentally, physical body is not there. But this subtle body is there, which is the mind, so everything remains in mind. They are alive. Nothing of the material plane remains for them. The body, material plane, is the gross material plane. The body in which they dwell at that time and are made up of 17 subtle elements, 5 pranas, 5 karmendriyas, 5 jnanendriyas, and manas and buddhi, that is mind and intellect. The composite subtle body is called Sukshma Sarira, just I described. Then the question comes, then is this condition of the souls beyond grave is awful? Yes, the earth-bound spirits suffer much. They do not know they are dead. So that is the problem. They do not know they are dead. They remain as if they are alive and they are departed, they have no body, is not there. So they cannot enjoy the material world, and yet they are in the slumber and dreaming and mind there. All the desires they had before death are there intact. And there are desires, but there are no organs to enjoy that. So it is a very painful state for the departed soul if it doesn't move onwards. In that slumber state, souls carry concentrated records of their entire lives. They do not forget those, the things that are remembered, because mind is there. In a certain subtle way it remains there. When the souls wake from the sleep, they enter into the astral plane, which is the projection of their own ideas. See, they wake up, enter into astral plane, and after that, their karmas will make them, because they have desires, they want to enjoy. After that thing, they will go into, and they will take another body, another life will happen. So this is what Vedanta has to say. But in our scriptures, they have said what happens after death for 4 types of persons. Let me read from that. Hinduism speaks of the 4 courses that men follow after death. The first called Devayana, way of the gods. is followed by spiritually advanced souls who lead an extremely pure life, devoting themselves to wholehearted meditation on Brahman, but who have not succeeded in attaining complete self-knowledge before death. They repair to Brahmaloka, the highest heaven, and from there, in due course, attain liberation. The description of this path in Chandogya Upanishad is as follows. Now, such a one, whether after his death rites are performed or not, goes to light, from light to day, from the Brahmaloka who goes to Brahmaloka, the course is said. It is difficult to understand. Swami Vivekananda also describes in complete works. He says, I do not understand this. If you can understand, make some meaning of this, I am telling you this, he says, he quotes. Now such a one, whether his after death rites are performed or not, goes to light. Rites, rituals are not needed for such such a wonderful person who didn't realize God, but who had led a very devoted life, as to say. He goes from light, goes to light, from light to day, from day to bright half of the month, from the bright half of the month to the 6 months during which the sun rises northward, from the months to the year, from the year to the sun, from the sun to the moon, from the moon to the lightning. There he meets a person who is not a human being. This person carries the soul to Brahman. This is the divine path, the path of Brahman. Those proceeding by this path do not return to the world of humanity. They will have Krama Mukti. This is called Krama Mukti. The second course, known as Pitriyana, was called the Devayana, the Pitriyana, way of the fathers, is followed by ritualists and philanthropists who do good to the world, perform the script, they maintain the scriptures, who have cherished the desire for the results of their charity, austerity, vows and worship. Following this path, they repair to Chandraloka, the lunar sphere, and after enjoying immense happiness there as a reward for their good actions, they return again to earth, since they still have earthly desires. This is the second Pitriyana. For the people who work to have the fruits of action, and they are good people, helping others, serving others, still they cherish to have a long life and have them desire to enjoy the fruits of their merit, doing actions. For them is Pitriyana. The third course, which leads to hell, is followed by those who led an impure life, performing actions forbidden by the scriptures. They are born in subhuman species. After expiating their evil actions, they are again reborn on earth in human bodies. For those who did bad actions, they go to purgatory like hell, and there they suffer something, and after that they are reborn as human beings. The fourth course is for those who are extremely vile in their thoughts and bodies, in their actions and body, thoughts and actions. They are reborn again and again as insignificant creatures such as mosquitoes and fleas. Eventually, after the expiation of their evil actions, they too return to human bodies on earth. When a soul assumes a human body, it takes up the thread of spiritual evolution to its previous human birth and continues to evolve towards self-knowledge. According to Hinduism, all souls will ultimately attain self-knowledge. The four courses do not apply to those souls who attain self-knowledge before or at the time of death. The fifth category, who are Brahmagyanis or Jivan Muktas. Upon their death, their souls become absorbed in Brahman, and the elements of their body-mind complex return to their original source. So for them, it is like breaking the pitcher that is immersed in ocean. And there is water inside the pitcher and water outside the pitcher, the water of ocean. So what will happen if pitcher is broken? What was there, that will be there, no change. There was water that seemed to be like enclosed within the pitcher, but it was the water of the ocean. Pitcher broken, what was there, that remains. For Brahmagyanis, no change. Only body breaks, and all the things of this, what makes the body goes to its elements. There is no movement of soul, there is no going. They have already attained what they would get in the first category of who went by Devayana through Krama Mukti. They all get instant Mukti for Jivan Muktas on Brahmagyani. From the point of view of Hinduism, dying may be compared to falling asleep and after death experiences to dreams. The thought and actions of the waking state determine the nature of our dreams. Similarly, after death, the soul experiences the result of the thoughts it entertained and actions it performed during its life on earth. After death experiences are real to the soul, just as a dream is real to the dreamer, and may continue for ages. Then, when the soul wakes up after this sleep, it finds itself reborn as a human being. According to the Hindu scriptures, some souls after death also may be born as human beings without going through the experiences of heaven or hell. There is no real break in the spiritual evolution of the soul toward self-knowledge. Even the soul's lapse into subhuman birth from human life is a mere detour. That is the hope Hinduism or Vedanta gives, that there is no real loss. Eventually we all will have that blessed state of supreme knowledge. Sri Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that whatever you think at the time of death, that will you will be born in that state. However be the course, you think of God, you think of nice things, and then you will be born in that heaven. So like that, yam yam vapi smaran bhavan tyajatyante kalevaram tam tame vaitikam deya yathatad bhava bhavita. Whatever you think at the time of death, that is very important. But to have the thought of good thoughts, positive thoughts, thought of God, thought of Ishta, we need to think all the time. Sadat tad bhava bhavita. Only that thought will come, whatever we have thought, over our life. So there is hope for everyone. Holy Mother said beautiful about the death. She says, the death is inevitable. It's just like what you are so much attached to this world is nothing that you should get attached. So such is life. Here today, gone tomorrow. Nothing goes with one except one's merit and demerit. Good and evil deeds follow one even after death. What an illusion Mahamaya has conjured up. Here is this infinite world, and what one claims as his possession will be left behind at death. Still, men cannot understand this simple truth. The difference between a great soul and an ordinary man is this: the latter weeps while leaving this body, whereas the former laughs. Death seems to him a mere play. For a wise person, no fear of death and no fear of the moment when the death comes. Swami Vivekananda, he said death is but a change of condition. We remain in the same universe and are subject to the same laws as before. Those who have passed beyond and have attained high planes of development in beauty and wisdom are but the advance guard of a universal army who are following after them. Every one of us comes into this world to fight as on a battlefield. We come here weeping to fight our way as well as we can and to make a path for ourselves through this infinite ocean of life. Forward we go, having long ages behind us and an immense expanse beyond. So on we go till death comes and takes us off the field. Victorious or defeated, we do not know. So that Swami Vivekananda gives us great message that do not ever be afraid of death. It is just inevitable thing that it happens. when we are born as a human being, we will have to die. So that was Swami Vivekananda's saying. So when death is inevitable, we have to know how to conquer this fear of death. That is the main purpose. Mystery of death, after death, something scriptures say. But we really, nobody knows what really happens after death. What? This whole world that we perceive will vanish in a moment at the death. And we will go to unknown place. If movement is there, we feel that we will die. We will go to unknown place where we will be born again in a new family, as a new child. We don't know, we forget everything. That fear of death is about missing the thing that we have here and journey to the unknown world. But this journey unknown world, we have come into the unknown world. If we think of our birth as this human body, we came, but we had so wonderful life. Our friends and relatives and the worlds and the colleagues, this beautiful world, we all had this thing. So after that also, if we are reborn, our karmas are good, so we are going to have beautiful life until we get the mukti. If we are not tired of this coming and going, once the knowledge will come and this we want, I don't want this going and coming, nothing there. It's dream after dream. This world is a dream, death is a dream, and then again you wake up and wake up into this dream of this life. I don't want to sleep and dream. I want to wake up really. So until we say, the dream is given to us. And there is no fear that we should be afraid of death. This life is wonderful, next life is also going to be wonderful. We have got our spiritual guide, and we have got our wonderful friends, all the beauties, grandeur, goodness, so precious this life. Next life is also going to be like this. So why should we worry for death? Body old goes, we get a new body. So death, when it comes, welcome death. So, not to be afraid of death is conquering death. That is what it is. Katha Upanishad said, higher than objects of senses are the senses. Higher than the senses is the mind. Higher than the mind is intellect. Higher than intellect is the self. Higher self, the Atman, Jivatman. Higher than the self is unmanifest. Higher than the unmanifest is the supreme personified. Highest is the supreme, the goal ultimate, sa kastha sa paragati, the supreme goal where we merge in the bliss which is our own nature. The drop which was thinking separate from the ocean merges into the ocean to become the ocean. It doesn't lose its individuality but expands its individuality as infinite being. Let me conclude with Swami Vivekananda's letter which he wrote to Mrs. Olibull, who lost her father. In 1895, a disciple of Swami Vivekananda, Mrs. Olibull, lost her father. Swamiji wrote her a very gentle letter, comforting her in his own inimitable way. His letter is one of the most profound explanations of the mystery of death. Coming and going is all pure delusion. The soul never comes nor goes. Where is the place to which it shall go? Where all space is in the soul, when all space is in the soul, when shall be the time for entering and departing? When all time is in the soul. The earth moves, causing the illusion of the movement of the sun. But the sun does not move. So, Prakriti or Maya or nature is moving, changing, unfolding, veil after veil, turning over leaf after leaf of this grand book, while the witnessing soul drinks in knowledge, unmoved, unchanged. All souls that ever have been, are, or shall be, are all in the present tense, because the idea of space does not occur in the soul. Therefore, all that were ours are ours and will be ours, are always with us. We are in them, they are in us. Nature, body, matter moves on, creating the illusion that the soul is moving. Thus we find at last that instinct or inspiration which men of every race, whether high or low, have had to feel, namely the presence of the departed about them, is true intellectually also. Its own grandeur working through the mind on the body, and through the body it is grasping the external world and understanding it. It takes up a body and uses it, and when that body has failed and is used up, it takes another body, and so on it goes. Life is another name for death, and death for life. One particular mode of manifestation is what we call life. Another particular mode of manifestation of the same thing is what we call death. When the wave rises on the top, it is life, and when it falls into the hollow, it is death. So, thank you so much for, I'm trying to say the mystery is very mysterious. Nobody has experienced that. Only through the scriptures we get some idea about what happens after death, and we try to follow that. The more focus, Swami Vivekananda used to say, try to remember death always, that death is inevitable, it will come. So somebody asked, will Swami it not give us frustration and will depression? Swami said, it may be for some time, but when you start thinking of death, it will give you enormous power after a few days, and you become so unselfish, so good person, because death is inevitable. That is the ultimate goal of body. This will be lost, it will not last forever. Then you will be doing everything in a wonderful way, will be your blessed, will be your life. So the problem is thinking of death and getting afraid of death is not the goal. Goal is to emphasize our immortality, that as soul we are immortal, and our connection with the immortal divine being. That's what called yoga. We remain connected with the divinity, and we feel that we are part of that divinity, or we are that divinity itself. According to our mental growth, we can think of ourselves as the jiva belonging to God, or as the divine consciousness itself. And that is the only way by which we can conquer the fear of death. And as it is said, for the people of those who have attained the knowledge of Brahman, for them there is no mystery of death. Death and life doesn't matter. It's the same thing that continues long. So for that we want to reach to that state when death has no fear for it, doesn't create, it just comes, it happens. We are soul. We are reading the book of life, as Swami Vivekananda says, turning pages of the book, and this life is one page of that great book of our great eternal life. And we read this book, and we are turning, when we die, we turn this page, and we read another thing. So we gain more strength, and finally the book is finished, our all birth and death and birth cycle finished, throw the book and remain your true self. That is the goal. So fear of death or living long in this body, that cherish, that wish is not very has any meaning, but to live, have a longer life, to work for God, to think of God and do good to others, as Sri Ramakrishna said. I can live longer so that I can talk about you, O Mother, to the people. So we can, the life, if we can give something joy to other people, and we can talk about God, we can really serve our fellow human beings, and we get freedom from all fear and all vices in our life, and that will be real living and real remembering the death than really getting more mystery, always brooding on the fear of death and the mystery of death. Mystery of death, knowledge of the mystery of death should make us more stronger and more fearless to face the moment of death. Thank you very much.